What it do, YouTube? It's your boy Mike from NYC. NBA legend Isiah Thomas takes direct shot at Michael Jordan with his explosive comments. I haven't done no Michael Jordan in a minute. You know what I'm saying? I did a Michael Jordan detox. I did a Michael Jordan and Larry Bird detox. You know what I'm saying? People who subscribe, they might be a little bit unhappy with that, but I'm still putting up content though. I'm still shooting. I'm still off the rack.
Hi, this is Charleston, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and when we give you
classic debates. I want to get in on some classic debates. The Dreamers Pro. Listen, man, I would love to get on your show and talk that talk, man. If you got a pod or whatever, I would love to be a part of that. You know what I'm saying? If it's strictly basketball, you feel me? Cause I already know the content game, right? The Michael Jordan, you know what I'm saying? You niche out, you know what I'm saying? You do is gonna pop. So it's the little Michael Jordan, this LeBron GOAT. I get it. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? But if you got something that's just that, I get on that. But if you got something that's a little bit more versatile, you know what I'm saying? A little bit of jelly on it, you know what I'm saying? Because that NBA talk is straight peanut butter. Like, it's necessary, but you're not really trying to get straight peanut butter. Sometimes you need a jelly. Sometimes you need something else. So, yeah, you get what I'm saying.
Perspective on things, and I always see them. And today we got a show for you guys here today that you definitely don't want to miss. Now, as all of y'all are fully aware, Isiah Thomas, the Detroit Piston legend, NBA legend.
Facts.
Isiah Thomas.
Facts. He's a legend.
And Michael Jordan have had a beef that has gone back decades, right? Something that's gone back 30 plus years. They had this running beef that never seems to end. And when the Last Dance documentary dropped back in 2020,
right,
all of us were glued to our TVs because we had nowhere to go, obviously.
True.
But when it dropped, I mean, it created so much attention and conversation among sports fans because of the things that we were seeing and the things that were being said in that doc. But at one particular point, Michael Jordan was asked to give his opinion on Isiah Thomas, and when he started to talk, MJ did not hold back whatsoever. So for those of you who maybe forgot what MJ had to say in The Last Dance, or maybe didn't see it or don't at all, what we want to do is we want to quickly play what Michael Jordan had to say about their infamous exchange at the end of the game, and then we're going to come back and react to it. So take a listen to what MJ had to say and a little bit what Isiah Thomas had to say, and then we're going to come back and unpack this thing. Take a listen to that there.
I respect Isiah Thomas's talent. To me, the best point guard of all time is Magic Johnson, and right behind him is Isiah Thomas.
Respect.
No matter how much I hate him,
that's respect.
I respect his game. Now, it was insinuated that I was asking about him, but I never threw his name in there. Based on the environment and the camaraderie that happened on that team, it was best harmony. Would Isiah made a different feeling on that team? Yes. You want to attribute it to me? Go ahead, be my guest. But it wasn't me.
It's something somewhere. Now, am I a sore loser? Yes, I am a sore loser.
This is Isiah talking about the walk-off.
Well, I know it's so. Whatever he says now, you know it wasn't his true actions then. It's time enough to think about it.
Nah, that is true though. Nah, we do gotta keep it a bean though. Like, niggas had time to sit and polish up the answer. Niggas had time to get on the, okay, Isiah, what you gonna say? Okay, boom, you gonna, you gonna clean it up. This part we gonna leave out. We gonna insinuate this part. You feel me? Like, we already know what his true intentions were in the moment. You get what I'm saying? So everything after the cleanup, the political polishing, we don't really need that.
Or the reaction of the public that's kind of changed his perspective of it. You can show me anything you want. There's no way you can convince me he wasn't that.
So you heard that, right? I mean, no love lost, right? No love lost. And just when you thought this thing had kind of just simmered down, it reared its ugly head yet again. Now, we got two articles that we want to read. The first one was where I initially found out about the story and that I believe was on what is it? SI.com. So I want to read a little bit of that. Isiah Thomas, beef with Michael Jordan continues after Last Dance. The feud between Michael Jordan and Isiah Thomas has been going on for nearly 40 years, and its latest chapter started this week when a quote from the former Piston guard went viral. In the quote, Thomas said the beef between the two would carry on until he got an apology from Jordan. But on Tuesday, Thomas took to Twitter to clear everything up and plug an article that had his full comments, so there would be no misinterpretation. He said, my full quote, don't short it or take it out of context.
Facts.
Below why. Then I went to the tweet, and the tweet said from Euro Hoops, no love lost between MJ and Isiah Thomas. Then I went to the actual page, the website from EuroHoops.com is what we want to read now.
Come on.
The article basically continues on. While talking during the Abu Dhabi NBA games, Abu Dhabi games, to the Greek NBA rights holder Cosmos TV, Isiah Thomas dropped a bomb during his interview. When asked about his old dispute with Michael Jordan and the way it was portrayed in the Last Dance documentary, Thomas didn't hold back. As he said, when I was watching The Last Dance, I'm sitting there and I'm watching it with my family and thinking everything is good.
Okay.
And then this guy comes on television and he says that he hates me, and then he calls me an asshole. And then I proceeded to watch the whole documentary about him being an asshole. I'm like, wait a minute, time out. Until I get a public apology, this beef is going to go on for a long, long time because I'm from the south side of Chicago.
West side. What the hell does him being from the west side of Chicago have to do with anything? First of all, I mean, I don't really have a problem with what Michael Jordan said. Michael Jordan said, I hate him. If he hates him, he hates him. He kept it a bean. He ain't like, you know what I'm saying, I don't really, like, no comment. He didn't hit you with the no comment. He let you know in front. Yo, I hate him, and he's an asshole. That's the way I view it. Now, is Michael Jordan also an asshole? Two things can both be true. Michael Jordan can think Isiah can be an asshole, and Michael Jordan can be an asshole. That's perfectly fine. That's Michael Jordan's opinion. Cool. Right? Secondly, I don't think Michael Jordan has any intentions on squashing the beef. He just said he hates you. Right? He said he hates you. So if he hates you, then I don't know. I don't think that you're going to get to a point where there's water under the bridge. So I don't really see what's the problem here. MJ don't mess with you. That's it. He don't bang with you. That's it. What is this story? I don't get what the story's about. MJ said what he said. He said what he said. He said I hate him and he's an asshole. That's it. He said what he said.
So, you heard what Isiah Thomas had to say.
Nigga said, because bro, when niggas do that, first of all, that literally was irrelevant. Nigga said, because I'm from the west side of Chicago. Like, what does that have to do with anything, bro? And granted, it is Twitter's, so you're reading it. So it's like, you don't get the full context while reading it, but based on what I saw, him being from the west side of Chicago is literally irrelevant. It is literally irrelevant. Yeah, because until I get an apology, you know what I'm saying? Shit ain't sweet. It ain't no sucker around here. How many licks it take to get to a center of a sucker? Cause I ain't no lollipop. I'm from the west side of Chicago. Like, bruh, that's irrelevant, bruh, but
I hear my thoughts on this, and I'm sure this is like igniting a certain group of NBA fans that are watching this show, and I'm sure they're going to have a lot to say about this because there's just something about those '90s Bulls, man. It's just something about the '90s period, like the late '80s, '90s. It's just like the golden era, as they say, even in hip hop and all. It's just the golden era.
That is true. The '90s was golden in hip hop, in basketball. It was like really the golden ages. That's when the Dallas Cowboys and the 49ers were elite. It was like the golden ages of basketball. The Knicks were who the Knicks really was. Like the Knicks was they was never a championship team, but they always had that grit. They always had that one dude, and they had everybody else who came with the grit. You know, you had the Pacers, who was really good. Like, you had a lot of good teams that had a lot of if you was a Pacers or a Knicks fans or one of those teams back then, like, you had a good reason to have that strong fandom. Like, yo, like, cause teams play hard back in the day. Back in the 90s? Nah, I'm chatting. But I mean, some of that is true. I'm partly joking, but
as they captivates millions and or tens of millions of people all around the world. Anyway, it is clear that the bad blood is still there, and I believe it's one of the reasons that Isiah Thomas used to come out on TV and basically say, when he was asked if MJ was the greatest basketball player of all time, I believe it was one of the reasons he used to say LeBron was the greatest ever. I think the reason he said that was to get at MJ. And funny enough, whenever he said that on ESPN, I think he even said it on Undisputed at one time when Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless were there. I know for sure he said it on ESPN, and he usually said it in these public forums when they were doing these live shows outside. And whenever he said it, man, people in the audience would start to boo him. Like, what are you talking about, right? So you could tell that Isiah Thomas just doesn't hold Jordan in that regard. You can also find quotes of him talking about Jordan where he said, you know, we were dominating this guy when we were playing against him, right? He would say this, right? And it's something that would really upset a lot of Michael Jordan and NBA, you know, and some NBA fans, at least Chicago Bull fans, right? They're like, no, what are you talking about? People go back and forth about it. And they say, oh, Jordan beat them. There's this whole running debate that's been going on for decades now. Now, how do I think all of this plays out? Well, both of these gentlemen are obviously in their 50s, probably mid-50s by now, or close to going towards their 60s. And as you know, with age, usually, you know, wisdom comes as well. Maturity. And maybe you let go of certain things that you hold on to. That's for most people. In the case of Michael Jordan, Jordan is notorious for not letting go of anything. As a matter of fact, Jordan holds it against you that you doubted him or took a slight at him. Just go back and watch the last, or go look at his Hall of Fame enrichment speech, and you'll see Jordan basically calling out all the people that doubted him, right? Jordan is just one of these guys that seems to be like, he's not letting it go. If you cross me, you know, it's over, right? And so I don't see Jordan coming back and then having like a hug-a-thon or like, you know, mending the relationship the way Magic Johnson and Isiah Thomas did in that sit down that they had when you saw towards the end of it. Both of them, you know, were crying and they embraced each other and they basically apologized for all the things that, you know, went down between the two of them. But knowing MJ, I just don't see a scenario in which he's going to apologize, or that apology that Isiah Thomas is publicly requesting. In the case of Isiah Thomas, I think Isiah Thomas is not going to come off of his position because he had success against MJ. And I think that Isiah is not going to let Jordan's greatness or perceived greatness taint his direct memory of his direct contact and experiences, in this case playing basketball and competing against Michael Jordan. And I think the reason Isiah Thomas has this level of confidence when he talks about MJ is because of how things went down between the Chicago Bulls and the Detroit Pistons earlier in MJ's career. So to me, I think this is going to make for a great sports debate. So the question to the audience is this.
What's the question?
What do you think about what Isiah Thomas had to say, right? Do you think he had a point? And also, do you see a situation in the future where maybe both of these gentlemen kind of squash this entire thing? Whatever you got.
I do. I kind of, it honestly, I can see a scenario, but it really just depends on why they beefing. If they beefing only on some hooping shit, like when Detroit played Chicago, like you already know the energy that was being brought. Like Mike was getting 40. They was throwing Mike down. They was doing Mike dirty. It was a duel. It was like an all-time great duel. You know what I'm saying? Once he finally got his Scotty, he got his Batman that he could really go back to back with, and feel me, and really get shiesty in them Detroit streets. You feel me? He could really Scotty right here. I could hold mine. You feel me? He couldn't get all 5 of them. He couldn't get all 5. But if he got somebody he could put his back to, 2v5 like some Jackie Chan, you know, Rush Hour movie. I forgot the question, but it depends on why they're beefing. If they're beefing strictly off of something that was basketball related, if they're beefing because Isiah walked off the court and all of that, I think that they can move on from that. But it might, I don't remember, I don't know what the reason or what the root of their beef is. You know, if it's strictly basketball, I think they'll move past it. But if it's something deeper, they may not ever move past it. And I don't think that they necessarily have to move past it. I don't really see like a, you know, it would be one thing if they was really close and they was really friends and they was close and they was chopping it up and they was going to lunch together. It would be one thing if that happened, if it was that the case at first and then they, you know, went sour. You know, they would have a reason or and somewhat of incentive. They lost a friendship. They lost a camaraderie. You know what I mean? They lost something. But I don't think that there's anything there. I don't think that everybody needs to be friends, you know. And you know, I think that people just gonna beef sometimes. I think that, you know, especially being the type of guy Michael Jordan is, like, you know, I think they just, you know, I think that's just the nature of it. I don't really see an issue with it. I don't really see a problem with it. Is Isiah Thomas possibly hating because, you know, does he say LeBron's the GOAT maybe to slight Jordan? I could see Isiah doing that. I could see him doing that. I see him as that type of dude, 100%. Now, I don't know if he actually means it or not. I don't know if he actually thinks LeBron's the GOAT. I mean, there's nothing wrong with thinking LeBron's the GOAT. LeBron's top, you know, he's top 3. He's up there. But, yeah, that's my view.